Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
ABC Wednesdays.
Y'all can play all day. We want books. We want paper towels in the classroom. Bet you want raises, too.
I'm still waiting on the paper towels.
Abbott Elementary returns with a new season.
We asked the district for more after-school programs. They gave us $50 for class pets instead.
Critics cheer. Abbott Elementary continues to be one of the funniest and most beloved shows on TV.
What y'all doing out there?
Taking bribes.
Proud of y'all.
Abbott Elementary, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
What up, y'all? It's Joe Budden, here to talk about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. You can get up to 100 times your money.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to another brand new episode of Don't Blame Me, your absolute favorite advice podcast, where we, two stunning, gorgeous supermodels with wonderful personalities, change your life for the better, or for the better than better, or for the slightly less than better, but the title in itself is Don't Blame Me. So if we fuck up your life, that is actually truly none of our business. But we would like you to tell us about it.
It's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
Yeah.
It might be our business, but it's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
No,
We're
you
not
can't hold
at
it.
fault. I'm Melissa Diamond Monts, and that is Megan Deep Throat Rinks.
You know, what can I say? That is my government name. And if you want to know why, first of all, keep being curious, keep asking questions. And also, you can join our Patreon, because when you look at me, you'll have to watch the exact part where that was. It'll make more sense. Unless they just like go and see a video of me on Patreon. They go, yeah, this bitch is a deep throater.
She's got a yeasty throat.
Disgusting and itchy. And why would you wish that upon me? Why would you do that? Why would you wish that upon me? That terrifies me.
Because you went and told this story to that boy.
Oh, yeah.
But I saw that you were posting about how your allergies, and I know you don't read your Instagram messages, even though I've sent you about 20 in the last 2 days.
Let me go look. Maybe.
But you're talking about how your allergies are worse than they've been.
Yeah.
And these last 2 weeks are apparently the heaviest for allergies of the year. And I keep getting, and I know this because I keep getting ads on TikTok telling me to go get tested for asthma. And I'm like, I don't need you coming for me, okay?
I literally was talking to Mata's parents this weekend about how you need to go get tested for asthma. I was like, Melissa definitely has asthma. And I don't even know what the context of the story was. It was something, I don't know. But I was like, well, Melissa definitely has asthma. So
every time I've opened TikTok the last 2 weeks, it says that.
And I'm glad, because they're not fucking wrong. You have asthma.
I told you my game plan.
And you know, I'm here for a game plan and I'm totally fine with it. I appreciate the news thing that you sent me. I did see it immediately, because I swear I don't have an alert on my phone to give me notifications about the entity involving a green ogre in a swamp. But I am such a huge fan that my algorithm knows and serves it up to me. I sent it to Moz and I said, I want to get married here. I have been hearing about the allergy thing too. I saw a subreddit post where someone's like, in LA, they're like, what the fuck is up with these allergies? Is it just me? And everyone's like, no. And then Motz's mom was saying it this past weekend. And I was like, cool. Not just me. I have been getting recommendations. People said, if I've been on my Claritin game for a while, it's time to switch it up. And I'm also going to get some local honey.
Well, I already have that. But I do go a week or two without my Claritin, so I'm not taking it every day.
I need to.
I know. Anyways, what is this show?
This show is where we give advice. And I think from what you just heard, you're like, yeah, I want to hear these people have to say. They sound like they give wonderful, amazing, fantastic advice. And to that, I would say you would be fucking correct. So what we lack in credentials, we make up for in
opinions
with capital O, opinions. So there are multiple ways that you can participate in the show. We do our classic voicemails. You call us or you send us a voice memo. Let us know what's happening in your life. Tell us the whole story. Give us your age, your pronouns if you would like. Give us all the important details. Write it all down. Practice a couple times. Make sure it's under 3 minutes. Read it out loud. You don't have to perform it, but if you want to perform it, you can perform it. And then we will give you the best possible advice that we can. Or if writing is more your vibe, you're more of a scribe, you're more of an author, you can write it. Let the pen be your sword, and then we will read it aloud. And when I tell you, I will act, there will be a performance then. And all the same requirements. You have to be 18 or over, have your parents' permission. But if you want to send a DM, you can do that over on our Instagram, or you can send us an email, which is the same place to send voice memos for our international listeners. And that is to meganpodcast@gmail.com. So both, again, under 3 minutes or written under 300 words. And if you don't give us all the details, we can't guarantee, well, we actually can't guarantee anything, but we cannot give you the best possible advice because we might have to infer something and it's not totally correct. But we started this podcast because we like helping people, but we also like gossip. So give us the juicy things. Don't just be like, okay, here's where we ended up. But there's all these things beforehand that were crazy, but I can't get into it. Get into it. Please get into it. We want you to get into it. Get into it, roll around, get out of it. And we'll figure it out after that.
I love getting into it.
There is nothing I like more than getting into it. If someone's like, do you want to get into it? I'm like, let's get fucking into it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into it right now. Unless I don't want to get into it. Then I say,
not for me.
Depends on what we're getting into.
We have a Facebook group. And I went through yesterday.
8 a.m., my girl. I saw that.
I needed a warm up before a break in between my writing. So that's why. I declined a lot of people. And the reason is that y'all didn't read the instructions. So please go back through if you were rejected and read the instructions. And that's all I have for house cleaning.
Amazing. We also have a Patreon, like stated. So if you want to watch the video versions of this podcast, you can. And recently with Spotify, right? You can now listen ad-free.
Ad-free on the Patreon.
So if that tickles your fancy, if that flicks your bean.
I like to be tickled, my fancy.
I hate being tickled.
I don't either, but I do like my bean being tickled. And then that's what I meant by fancy.
Oh. My bean is fancy.
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite kind of beans?
I love a baked bean, barbecue baked beans.
Not even what I was thinking in the criteria, but I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Continue.
I also love black-eyed peas, which technically isn't a bean, but it's shaped like it.
Yeah.
When you go shop for it in the grocery store, it's in the bean section.
It's in the bean aisle. Well, I just have to say, I am the representative for, I think,
white beans.
Oh, delicious. But one of the most underrated beans, refried beans.
Yeah, they're good.
I think they're criminally slandered.
I don't know why they're criminally slandered, but I just don't have a good time a couple hours later.
Yeah, but I think if I'm eating something and as I'm eating it, it's representative about what it's going to look coming out of me. That to me, I know what I'm getting into, so I can mentally prepare. Other beans are sneaky, like a lentil soup. That is fucking sneaky
I don't
as
like
hell.
lentil soup.
I don't love it, but if I'm eating it, I'm like, oh, I'm eating lentil soup, and I'm not thinking about what this is going to be like tomorrow.
If I'm eating lentil soup, it's because it's not me. It's
someone else made it.
Me. It wasn't even that. I am hungry, and this is the last thing that is available. But I do like beans.
Me too. They don't like me. That's the hard part.
Yeah, I want some black-eyed peas.
I want split pea soup. Anyways, shall we dive into these people's lives?
Let's do it. All right, first up. Hi, Eminem. I, 23, she, her, have a close friend, Amy, also 23, she, her, who I have known and loved since we were toddlers. I am not religious, as in Amy is Christian. Religion has never been an issue in our friendship as our values have somewhat aligned. I am the more liberal one of us. We are long distance friends as we are in different colleges. And in the past few months, I have felt a bit of a disconnect between us. Like Amy is really not sharing much about her life. This week, she told me that she has found a new church and has become a completely different person over the summer. And that's in quotes. So Amy said that. She has explained how she lives in a more conservative manner now. I told her I was happy that she found a community she feels right for her. Now Amy posted an Instagram story praising someone who operates in national politics and is widely known for being a bigot, homophobe, transphobe, pro-birth, you name it, and has been sued multiple times for the hate speech they spread in the name of Christianity. It got me thinking about just how much Amy's values have changed. I don't know how to ask her about this without coming off too strong, as these are values I feel strongly about. It concerns me that I might not like her answer, and I don't know if I can ignore that in my perception of her. But again, we have been friends for 20 years now, and I love her so much. How do I approach the subject in a respectful way and navigate forward in our friendship if it turns out we are no longer aligned morally? Or should I not say anything in the first place? Do you still want to be friends with her? Would be my first question. And it seems like that you do. And so if you do want to be friends with her, I think that you do need to have a conversation with her. In college, that is a transitional period for a lot of people. Some people get better, some people get worse. And seems like Amy's getting worse. And you said, how do you approach the subject? And it turns out that you're no longer morally aligned. Seems like she's already shared that she's no longer morally aligned if she's praising someone that's a bigot. And so I would just say, hey, Amy, I've, I feel like we're distant, and not just physically distant, but emotionally distant. I've sensed this in our friendship. And I just want to see, you said that you've found a better community for you that you feel like that you fit in with. And I know that, you go to church, and I was just wondering, what are your thoughts since I saw that you posted this thing about this bigot? Is that something you align with? Which you already know the answer to because she was praising them. Mm-hmm. And then see what her answer is and then go from there. But unfortunately, people do grow apart, especially if you're physically distant from each other. You're not engaging in the same activities like you would have when you were closer. And then because of that, things might change because people get influenced by different things. And those influences are not things that you don't think highly of. And, some people are in your life for a particular moment in time. And I know that you've loved her since you were little babies, and you still love her, but you can, if she doesn't align with what you believe in, you can love her from a distance, and that can be it.
Yeah. I mean, my question would be like, what do you want her to say? Because I think she's been pretty transparent. She's put distance between you already. And I think it's because she knows that you're not aligning. And then she explicitly said, I am living a more conservative lifestyle now, and I'm aligning myself with this, and it's this new church and all that. So it doesn't seem like politics or religion has been separate from your friendship. Like, she's bringing it up, she's talking about it, and that's after she had created some distance between the two of you. So I don't know what you're expecting her to say. It kind of feels like the question, you're like, do I ask the question because if I hear the answer I don't want to hear, which is the answer you're going to hear, then if I don't hear that, then maybe it's not true. And like, I understand that there's something along the lines of operating, not to get like Trump, where it's like, we'll have less, we just need to stop testing people for COVID, then less people will have COVID. But like, there are some times where it's like, yeah, you don't want to ask the question because you don't want to know the answer. But that doesn't change the fact that there is an answer. And that doesn't change the fact like that what is true. It's just a matter of like, are you ready to deal with that or not? But dealing with that means progressing forward. So I think if you're not ready to deal with it, like, you just take the distance and you like, don't try and like, chase this friendship and do all of this because it's not genuine, and it is not fair to you, either of you, because you're trying to ignore something that is evidently true. And if you're not ready to hear her say that and you're not ready to end the friendship, then don't end it. Take a hiatus. Just like keep that distance until you're ready for it, because I don't know what you want her to say. Like, do you want her to say that, like, I think you're the exception to the rule? Like, what do you want from her? Because I don't know, depending on how strong you are in your morals and convictions, like, this kind of stuff is not a political difference. This is like a moral and ethical difference. And do you want to be friends with someone like that and not who she was before, but like who she is now? So if you're trying to like freeze time so you can remember her of who she was, then I say just put that distance there. Like, you know, whether that's like ghosting her or not, but it does seem that like she's already pulling back and then you continue to pull back, then pretend that like that, like, not to be dark, but like pretend she died. Pretend that like this friend that you had and wonderful, like it's amazing, like that friendship could still be all of that, but she is not that person anymore. So trying to make her that person, it's going to be like a fruitless endeavor for the both of you. And I also don't think that, like, it doesn't sound like you want to get through to her or you want to change her. You just want her to not be like this, which is, I think, a fair desire. But sadly, she is like this. And just because we ignore it doesn't mean that she's not. But if you're going to ignore it, commit to ignoring it. And then you need to not know current her. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's hard. And I understand taking breaks or putting distance in friendships that you've had for a very long time. And I think there's nothing wrong with putting those things off. But in order to put them off, you can't operate like everything is fine and how this relationship is still how it was, because it's not. Like, you can live in that suspended disbelief, but do that in remembering this person in the past, not making present them the person they're not. I don't like her.
Obviously.
Next up. Hi, Meghan and Melisa. Context. My older brother was arrested when I was 12/13. He was 24 at the time and was in prison for 6 years. It was really hard on the whole family. It has never been something I talk about, but my select few friends know, but not even in a lot of detail. Me and Lydia, 24 female, have been friends since we were 11 years old. We were super close throughout school, and since leaving, we see each other every few months. Lydia's a bad drunk, as in non-functional blacked out, but she's never been a mean or rude drunk. After a lot of bad nights out, I decided not to drink with her anymore and only do coffee/dinners. We had a few good days out and a good night, so I hoped she'd outgrown it. This summer, she got a job working in Spain for 3 months and invited me out for a couple days. The first night, she got super drunk. We were having a conversation with this guy, and he made a comment somehow relating to being arrested, and I looked to her for an inside joke moment. She then started telling this guy that my brother went to prison and that he's a huge cunt. I immediately argued against her, and so she started backtracking. The next 2 days of the trip were awkward, and I was upset, and she acted like nothing happened, and I haven't really spoken to her since. She's tried to message me a couple times since, and I don't know what to say. I'm bad at voicing my feelings, and while it may not seem like a big deal, I'd never do the things she's done or said to her, so I feel like I shouldn't be okay with them being done to me. Oof, this is rough. I think that, like, she clearly has like she's not a drunk that you like, and that's okay. Someone doesn't have to be like angry, mean, violent, or people can also just be like annoying drunks. She's not a drunk that you like, and I think you decided not to drink with her and you would hope she had grown up. I don't know if you had a conversation about that, like, hey, you're not my favorite drunk, and it's just like it's not great in that instance. But yeah, I guess my question would be to you, what are you most upset about? Like, are you upset that she told this stranger about your brother? Are you upset that she called him cunt? You're saying that you would never have done these things to her, but like, what specifically was the thing that really, really hurt you in this? And I think all of them can hurt you, but like, what specific aspect of it is? Because if it's that, like, she's...
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
You know, what happened with your brother was a non-violent I mean, I'm not a fan of jail in general, but like if there's something that like this is cut and dry, not that like, you know, your brother went to jail for drunk driving and killed somebody and she lost a sibling in a drunk driving accident where like there's something that is a big trigger there. I think in that case, I think an inside joke is not really appropriate to kind of like give a knowing look. But I think if you gave a knowing look, I would assume that there's not that kind of thing there. Yeah, I think this is a communication issue, but I don't think it's kind of her to bring it up. You also didn't give a lot of insight. You said you don't tell a lot of like friends, only a select few people know. But it sounds like she's not a very good drunk. And then also you might not like what she had to say. And that was also hurtful. And that's not a matter of like, oh, poor company to say it in, but also like that's a hurtful thing to say. And I don't think drunk words are sober thoughts, but I think that if you do not like a person when they are drinking, how they treat you when you're sober, they can treat you really nicely. But if they treat you poorly when they're drinking, like you can be upset about that when you're both sober the next day. Like you're allowed to like have feelings about those kinds of things. But I feel like we need more info.
See, I'm like, you the caller, you knew that she isn't herself when she's drinking, and you've decided to separate that part of her life from yours. But you know, you were in a situation where she invited you to a different country that she was living in, so you did what she wanted to do. But like, if you truly like who she is when she's sober, and you don't think if she was sober then she would have said that, then I'm like, you just kind of have to move past it. But if this is somebody who you know when they're drunk that they do not behave in the way that you consider a friend, and you've already cut that part of their life out of your life, then you should, if she's drunk and you are around her, you shouldn't expect the friend that you want. And I know what she said was hurtful and it was uncalled for. Well, I don't know what the offense was, but it was hurtful, and it was hurtful to you. So that's all that really matters. It's hurtful, and
yeah.
In a normal situation, she wouldn't have said it. Then, yeah, you can be hurt. But if you want to continue to be friends with her, and again, you know that's not who she is when she's sober, then I think you just got to move on from this if she's apologetic about it.
Yeah, especially like the like looking over to her for like an inside joke moment. Like you don't like her when she's drunk and you don't trust her when she's drunk. And like, I'm not going to say that like, you know, you instigated it, but like if she's not great, she's taking something that's sober. She would have understood that cue. And there it might have felt like for her, like, oh, I'm going to say this part out loud. But yeah, I agree. And I also think that not that people can't be held responsible for the things that they say when they're like inebriated or under the influence. But if you are going to go out and go drinking with them, it also reflects on you. And like, if you don't like who she is when she's drinking, even if you're sober, even if it's like, oh, I'm going to like, don't go there and be there, because it will reflect as well on you. And it's just, it's not a situation that you have to be in.
Yeah. And if you've set up these boundaries, like when you're on the same turf, you know, then you should have had those same boundaries when you went on the trip and been like, I would love to come visit you, but I don't like to be around you when you're drinking. So let's just go places where we're not drinking.
Yeah. And have you even said that to her? Because I think that's another part of it is that like, you can be like, oh, I thought we had a couple nights out and it's fine. So I thought she outgrew it. And it's like, there's no communication there between the two of you. And I'm not thinking that she's going to like say like, oh yeah, I'm not a good person when I'm drunk. But I think it's, if you care about your friend, I think it's good to be like, I'm not particularly like a fan of you when you're drunk. So like, I'd rather not do those activities.
Yep.
Like just clue her in.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into a call and a write-in.
We're back. And it's time to get into the rest. Before we get into this one, I want to say that this does have mentions of vomit, throwing up. So if that is something that you are not good with, skip. Love the podcast. I've been listening for a while now. First, I want to give a trigger warning of bodily fluids. Yes, it is necessary. I, 25, he, him, recently had my third date with a guy that we'll call Jake, 23, he, him, that I met on Tinder 2 to 3 months ago. We decided to watch Howl's Moving Castle since Jake had mentioned that he hadn't seen all the Studio Ghibli films on our second date. Anyway, we made plans to watch the movie, and when the day came, I decided to buy some alcohol. It is here that I fucked up. I bought a few new drinks I'd never tried, particularly a Swedish brand of gin. We met up, and the date was going well with lots of kissing and cuddling. I drank a glass of gin and then followed up with a glass of vodka like 45-ish minutes later. I don't remember what happened after this. I blacked out for the first time ever in my life. I normally don't drink this much, but even when I do, this has never happened to me. I suddenly went from watching a movie at midnight to waking up in my room at 7 a.m. with vomit everywhere. I opened my door to find Jake on the couch awake. He looked clean and was wearing the same clothes, so I don't think I barfed on him. I immediately changed out of my clothes and brushed my teeth. I went out and apologized to him, and we hugged and kissed goodbye. That was Saturday. It's now Thursday, and I haven't heard anything from him. He hasn't posted on social media, and he hasn't texted me, which is unlike him. Should I just give up? Can you ever come back from this? Thank you. Without a doubt, you can come back from this, but the ball is in your court. If you are the one barfing or the one who got wasted and did something like embarrassing or something you're not proud of, I do think that it is your responsibility to reach out, and even if you apologized in person there, but he might not want to come back from it, but I think you have to make the first effort to do so.
Agree.
Good thing you're safe and okay.
Yeah. I'm glad you're safe and okay. Yeah, I think you can 100, like Megan said, you can come back from this. I don't think that like this is a big deal, but he did stay. Like he stayed. He was on the couch, could have left. He made sure that you were still alive. So you must have not done something incredibly terrible, or he's just a very good person. Either way, I think that you got to message him and be like, hey, what's up? Maybe you don't know what he's going through since you haven't talked to him. You don't know what he's going through. Something like sometimes Megan disappears from the internet and doesn't message me. And I'm like, hey, just checking in to see that you're alive. And she'll be like, yeah, I'm fine. Things happen. Some people that aren't, that are perpetually on the internet, they take breaks for a minute.
Yeah.
So,
so
yeah, just send them a message and be like, hey, what's up? Sorry about what happened the other night. Let's do maybe propose doing something where there's no drinking. Like you make a joke about it.
Yeah. And because I think you said it's the second date, but you've been talking for a couple months. So this is still the time where it's like, it could be like, oh my gosh, I never do this. And it's like over the screen. Plot twist, they do this all the time. So like you need to hang out with him. If he's interested, hanging out with him again and not drinking to like, don't prove like, look, I can handle my alcohol and I drink fine normally by like drinking, but just like right now, 50% of the time that you've gone out with him, you've been blacked out barfing on yourself. So like we need to get that percentage down if he's open to that and wants that. But that is, again, it is on you, because it's not that it's even like ick. It's just kind of like is this how
Who
this person is?
really is. Yeah.
So they can only go based on your word, but you have to, in the words of Love Island, you have to put the graft in.
Mm-hmm.
Put the
I
graft
don't know
in.
what that means, but okay.
Put the work in. Put your back into it.
You can do it. Put your back into it.
A prophet once said.
All right.
Hi, Melissa and Megan. Sorry I'm calling you again because I got cut off even though I wrote everything in notes. So I'll try to narrow it down a little bit more. I'm a 24-year-old female and have been with my boyfriend, who is a 25-year-old male, for 5 years. A couple of years ago, my boyfriend moved to Sacramento due to work and just wanting to move out. He moved in with his childhood best friend, who was also a 25 male. We had a long-distance relationship where he would come back almost every weekend. Occasionally, I would drive up to see him when I could, which is about a 2-hour drive. This is about 3 years into a relationship. He's never done anything or said anything for me not to trust him in any way, and I've always been like a walking green flag, like golden retriever energy. However, 6 months into his move, him and his best friend got blacked out drunk during a hangout session. They only remember chunks and pieces the next day. The only factual thing was that they had sex after his friend, we'll call him Alex, asked him what type of porn he watches. From my boyfriend's perspective, his friend coerced him into doing things, like going down and doing bad things. However, his friend also doesn't remember cross-dressing and making him do such things. During this time, my boyfriend didn't really think about me because he was too incoherent and blacked out to even think. We both felt terrible after putting bits and pieces together. I had multiple talks about it, which my boyfriend showed me all the screenshots and messages. My boyfriend told me about this incident about a couple of days after it occurred, since he was piecing everything together. I wanted to process it. And during this time, I never would have guessed that Alex or my boyfriend would do anything like this, because Alex is someone who he's trusted in for so long. They've been friends since grade school. However, they're no longer friends, and my boyfriend feels terrible about it. Even now, my boyfriend's never done anything where there have been any like beige or red flags. This past weekend, he went on an all-boys trip to a music festival in a different state and has been keeping me up to date every day. But these feelings of upset and feeling cheated on, but also trying to support someone who felt violated, comes up. And these feelings usually come up occasionally from time to time. We've had many talks about this, and he's also understanding and has promised to and continue to uphold the promise that he'll never be disintegrated. And if he is under any influence, that he would only go far enough where he is still completely aware of everything. This is something I can most definitely verify. I'm not exactly sure what to do about these feelings when they come up, because one, I want to be supportive of him, but two, there's always this thing in the back of my head where I'm scared that something like this will happen again. We are monogamous, and he is bisexual, and I'm also bisexual, but I'm still trying to be more comfortable with my sexuality. I'm kind of soft, but please let me know if I did anything wrong or what I should do next. Thank you so much, and I love your podcast.
Okay. Here's the thing. If he was coerced and he feels violated, then he did not cheat on you, and this is not a trust issue. He was sexually assaulted. And if he is a victim in the situation, then your feelings about like trusting him, I know that we're always like feelings are valid, but in this situation, it's not valid because it's not cheating. He was assaulted. So y'all are monogamous. You said that you're monogamous. And if you actually do trust him, and you know that in a situation where he, had less alcohol and he didn't black out and he was piecing things together, like this isn't something where you're like, I don't really trust him or I feel insecure about him being away on this trip, then like your feelings are misplaced in this situation. And I think it may be because neither of you realize that this was assault. And if you feel like that the friend pressured him into doing this, and you said that you feel like that he, you trusted the friend and you didn't think that he would do something like this, then, and he like started the things out about how he asked the question, like, what kind of porn you like, and you think that was a tipping point. I need you, I want y'all to go back and reevaluate the whole situation, because if you do, I think that will change your perspective.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I think the bottom line question is like, do you believe him? Because if you believe him, then this is the worry that you have is not that he is going to cheat on you. The worry that you have is that he's going to be in another situation where he's violated. And his friend was also totally blackout, and they both had to piece this together. Two people not being of the right mind to consent doesn't cancel out and mean that they both consented. That's not what happens. So even if his friend does not remember and doesn't have, is like, no, I don't remember this. I remember these little bits and pieces. This was not an okay situation. And so just because they were both drunk, both high, whatever it is, doesn't mean that two inebriated people equal one whole person who can consent. Like, that's just not the circumstance. And I want to know why they're not friends anymore, because like Melissa said, like, I don't know what that you, like, if he's using the term like he feels violated, to me that feels like he's like tossing you the ball of being like, this doesn't feel right, and that it's not being met with that it's like it's being seen as something else, and that he's not getting validated in that feeling, and so that he's not even fully unpacking that as well. And so I think like the being like, it is also really victim blamey to say like, you know, he's made a promise and you've got this boundary that he can't get that inebriated again, and it's like that has nothing to do with that. Like, that's not, and it's fucking semantics. And it's also like, regardless if it would have, like, you're saying that he wouldn't have done this if he was not intoxicated. That doesn't, okay, what about the other person? Would the other person have done that if they were this intoxicated? Like, it's just one of that you can't be, it's pinpoint.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Pointing these specific things that to be upset about versus like looking at the bigger picture of this. And I think it's just really misplaced. So I think like you being worried about him on this boys trip, to me, and I don't want to, you know, I give a lot of our listeners like the benefit of the doubt, and like we try to read a lot between the lines. But like when you keep saying like Alex was a really close friend and like I was so shocked, like we all really trusted him, and you're worried that, you know, he's going to cheat on you, quote unquote, again, like on this trip. Like, are you worried about that? Or are you worried that he's with a group of people that you also really trust, and suddenly you're like, fuck, I can't trust anyone. None of us can trust anyone. And now I'm really concerned because my partner is off here with other people who he's trusted, and he has trusted for years after he doesn't have this. Like, what if there's more Alexes? What if there are other Alexes in here and we don't know about that? That's a totally valid like fear to have. This is also so separate from what he is going through. So your concerns about this and your feelings about this, like with love, are not his problem. And you do not need to make it his problem, because you need to process this on your own to understand that like, oh shit, the language I've been using is victim blaming and I have not been validating this. And you keep saying he felt like he was violated. He was violated. Like he was violated point blank. And I don't know that if you believe him. And I think that he doesn't know if he believes himself, because he doesn't think that you believe him. And there's boundaries being created and conversations, and he's validating, like, the way you're going about this now is he cheated on you. And that's the aftermath of this. And like, nothing's fixed and nothing's recovering because that's not what happened. And so you're not feeling any better, nor is he, because you're painting a problem that didn't actually happen versus the one that did. This is not, I don't think, what you want. And I think part of you knows, you're like, if I did anything wrong. And I think there is a part of you that might know that, or there's just like something in you that is like, it's not feeling right. And what's not feeling right is how you've gone about this. And I think that because he's kind of fallen into that role that you've given him of like, this is my partner who cheated on me, that you feel validated in that he's like, okay, yeah, I won't do that. Yeah, I won't do that. Yeah, I won't do that. That doesn't mean that he remembers more than he's telling you. That doesn't mean any of that. And if you believe that this is all an elaborate lie, then why are you with him? I don't think you think he's lying, because I think if you think he was lying and he quote unquote like pretended to be assaulted to get out of cheating on you, you wouldn't be with him. Mm-hmm. That's a horrific thing to do. And I don't think he did that. And I don't think you think he did that. But we're creating this alternate reality that is easier to process for the both of you. And you have every right to be hurt and to be hurting for him that he was betrayed by one of his closest friends and that you weren't able to support him in a way that you might have if you had a bird's eye view of the situation. And you can be hurt by all of that, but this is about him and the focus on him. And it doesn't feel like this focus has been on him. And even like you said, like he's like, they're not friends anymore and he's like really upset. This is awful. Like it's not like people get abused by their partners and like those relationships end and those people are still like, this shit is complicated. And like when you get hurt by someone who like you really love and care about and that relationship ends, it's complicated. There are complicated feelings there. And like, I just think there's a lot of denial coming from your end, which I think that he's subscribing to that belief because I think he's been assigned a role, whether he feels like he doesn't feel like a good victim, like a perfect victim. And so he's like, oh, no, I probably did something like and then you co-signed it, or you felt like he was an instigator and then he co-signs it. But like, whatever it is, like, I just do not think that either of you are treating him with the care that he needs to be treated with based on this situation. I think that he's been assigned a role that he did not play, and the role of like the cheater. So this sucks.
It sucks. And then also at the end, you kind of threw it away that he was bisexual and you were also bisexual. And I don't know if you're saying that as like, this was him exploring his sexuality, but it's not. If he didn't consent to it, this is not him exploring. And I'm not sure if you think that gives you a pass, like to do something, but no, like y'all need to have a serious conversation about what this was.
Yeah. And if he wasn't bi, what would your reaction have been? Mm-hmm. Would you have been like, oh no, he was a victim here? But like, I really feel for him. And I don't even think either of you know what you're doing. I don't think either. And I especially don't think that, I don't think that he recognizes that you are victim blaming him. I think that he now thinks that he was not a victim and that he cheated when he didn't. Mm-hmm. And he like lost his oldest friend over, like, this is awful. And if you painted this picture and you told this story and this was like your best friend, I think you, like, as the caller, I think you'd feel incredibly strongly about how you have handled this moving forward. I don't think you're consciously doing it, which I don't want to say that makes it less bad, but I don't think you're a horrible, evil person who doesn't believe that believes that like people get what's coming to them, or that like, you know, what were you wearing? You do like, I don't believe any of that, because I think you called and said, did I do anything wrong? Because I think deep down, you know. So I don't want you to feel like this is like a lost cause at all, but you just, it needs to be everything needs to change from this moment forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just don't think that either of you realize what happened.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate. And I just would urge you to just not make any of it about you. And if he like needs a break and he needs some separate, like, that's fine. But like, if you need to talk about this with someone, he is not the person to talk about this with. It is a therapist. And like with love, it's also not your friends. It's also not your family members. Like, this is his trauma that is incredibly heavy and really hard. And it affects you totally, not nearly as much as it affects him. But you played a role in the mishandling of this afterwards. And to that, it is a professional help to help you help him. But this is not something for mutual people in your life to be like a sounding board for you.
Mm-hmm.
I have faith that this will be a positive change for the both of you. It just might feel uncomfortable to hear this at first.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take another break.
We're back, and it is time for Don't Blame Them. And you might be wondering, what is Don't Blame Them? I'm here to tell you, Don't Blame Them is where a listener will call in or write in with their own advice pertaining to a call that we had aired on a previous episode. So they might have personal experience. They went through something firsthand. They have a friend who went through something. Maybe they're a professional in like the space that it's in, or they have a niche answer or experience with something mentioned, or they've got great listening ears and have some more insight that we might have missed. Don't blame them for the caller whose boyfriend had a higher sex drive. Listening to this call, it sounded like it isn't a sex issue, but more an intimacy issue. My boyfriend and I both have lower sex drives, so we managed to fill our intimacy needs through things like massages and talking about things we are grateful / proud of the other for doing. I think you should chat with your boyfriend about some non-sexual activities that might satisfy his needs. Also, I agree with what Eminem said. He might not even be bothered by it at all. And the previous message they had.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Before was NASA warns that alien life may not be, to say fuckable, and it's just like a meme of someone going, oh man.
Somebody just tweeted it to me too.
Get the brand.
Yeah.
Don't you love when people see aliens and think of you?
I do. You want to see my shirt?
First of all, who the fuck is doing her merch? Because everybody's merch sucks except for hers.
I know.
They're doing it. They're not freelance. Like there's no shot they're working for any. She has them in lock and key. Damn, that's good. Did you know that they were selling that one?
I didn't wait in line for that. She's also selling the merch online. I bought it.
Oh, yeah. No, Mott's asking for Taylor. He's like, do you want to get merch? And I go, online. And also, love that girl. That merch that she sells is not my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, well, we'll talk about it tomorrow on See You Next Tuesday, where you can hear all about everything that I did this past weekend in Houston, Texas.
Houston, baby. So fucking excited. We hope you all enjoyed this episode of Don't Blame Me. If you did, you can leave us a review either on the podcast app or Spotify. You can leave reviews for individual episodes. Like Melissa said, we have our Facebook group. If you would like to join, make sure you read off the requirements. And Patreon. It is a very affordable price. There are multiple different tiers you could join, ranging from watching the video versions of this podcast to our other podcasts to our live streams that we have twice a month, which are so fun. We literally just hang out with all of our people. And we love them. They're great. They're fun. They're sexy. Who do you think is not fun? We'll let them argue amongst themselves.
Yeah, they can argue amongst themselves in their little...
They're sweating.
In their little chat that...
Their group chat that... Melissa, don't play with fire, because always we joke we're never a part of it, and they finally found a way to add Melissa, and then she had to unadd herself.
And I'll keep on doing it.
And I do it again. So yeah, please join. We have such a fun time. It's a grand old time. And if you would like to call or send a submission in for an upcoming episode, like we said at the beginning, leave us a voicemail, send us a voice memo, or send us a DM or an email. Oh, also I should tell you that this is Monday. And if you're brand new here, you're just scratching the surface. We have an entire slate of content for you every week. Welcome to the M&M universe. So tomorrow we see next Tuesday, which is cash, chatting, catching up, lives, random, really personality driven. Then we have a break on Wednesday. So you can it was Wednesday hump day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can hump someone. Because we're not ready to be humped because we get fisted in the same day, in the same week. Then Thursday is But Am I Wrong? Another great podcast where we talk about everybody who's wrong. And it's everybody except for us. And then we have Friday, which is Fisting Friday, where we read the results from the previous week's episode of But Am I Wrong? So you get to vote on who you think is wrong. And then we talk about it. It's a grand old time.
It is. And I'm going to read off some of our patrons as well. Okay. Emily, I like the way you spell it. Emile. Sierra,
Cute.
Jess, Gretchen. These people have been members since 2019.
Fuck yeah. I love a Gretchen. Gretchen is just like, I know everything about you just based on your name. And like by a parent being like or a guardian naming a child being like, this baby is Gretchen. No baby's name is Gretchen. An adult, a teenager, a child's name is Gretchen. So they know, they're like, vibe checked you so hard. I love a Gretchen.
Yeah, because, their father created toaster strudel, so.
How could you not?
Mm-hmm.
Gretchens are destined to be Nepo babies. You're like not allowed to be named like Gretchen, what are you inheriting?
Right.
What conglomerate? Let me know. Anyways.
All right.
We will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production sound and editing by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter. Hey, are you ready for some real talk and some fantastic laughs? Join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
We're serving up 4 hilarious shows every week designed to entertain and engage and, possibly enrage you.
In Don't Blame Me, we dive deep into listeners' questions, offering advice that's funny, relatable, and real.
Whether you're dealing with relationship drama or you just need a friend's perspective, we've got you.
Then switch gears with But Am I Wrong, which is for listeners who didn't take our advice and want to know if they are the villains in the situation.
Plus, we share our hot takes on current events and present situations that we might even be wrong in our lives. Spoiler alert, we are actually quite literally never wrong.
But wait, there's more. Check out See You Next Tuesday, where we reveal the juicy results from our listener polls from But Am I Wrong?
And don't miss Fisting Friday, where we catch up, chat about pop culture, TV, and movies. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend.
So if you're looking for a podcast that feels like a chat with your besties, listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go Network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle, what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures?
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada.
I'm crying. I'm so sorry.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.